Welcome to Fargo Talks Fargo, an unofficial podcast on the FX television series. This season of Fargo Talks Fargo is sponsored by Fargo Brewing Company and their Wood Chipper India Pale Ale. It's tasty and it won't get you murdered after a trip to Pancake's house. Now won't that be nice? Hey-o, Sharpie, how you doing, buddy?
Hey now, how's it going?
Not too bad. So you are in this every week. You know, we promise it's going to get better. Not that it's bad, but it's going to get better. You're currently in a Westin bar in L.A. because you left the airport during a layover.
That's right. Fittingly, I'm in Los Angeles for this episode, which seems to work out great for this week.
Yeah.
But yes, just flew in from Tokyo. I got a layover for 6 hours, so I just grabbed a hotel shuttle to the first hotel that showed up.
I think you'll be okay with that thing, but did you order 2 beers?
No, I'm hiding in a corner.
I was making a reference to the TV show this week.
Yeah, right. It's 5 o'clock in the morning for me right now.
How do you say? I always screw up that guy's name. Rob McElhenney?
McElhenney? I don't know. I always screwed up too.
I'm just going to call him Mac.
We'll call him Mac. Yeah.
Officer Oscar Hunt. So anyway,
man, I did not do a lot of reading prior to the show. Obviously, we were called out last week for not knowing that Jim Gaffigan actually wasn't signed on or bowed out, so that was my bad. So that shows how much reading I did prior to the launch or the premiere.
I'll own that with you. We both talked about it, so it's okay. Shit happens, man.
But Mac showing up as that police officer threw me for a complete surprise, which was awesome.
I'd seen it.
Oh, you had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, well, I am drinking some. I still haven't picked up any. You know, you don't have to. It's sponsored by Wood Chipper, but I'm drinking Iron Horse because that's what's in the refrigerator. So it's also equally refreshing.
Yes, Iron Horse is great.
Yeah, lovely beer. So let's. Okay, so I you and I know people. I don't know if they believe this or not, but we really don't. We very, very rarely pre-talk about what we're going to talk about. We start a call, we start recording, and we talk. There's not a lot. I was a little worried about that message. Oh, when you texted me last night, I was so out of it. It was like 1:45 in the morning. I don't know what time it was because for you 1:40. So that was technically Sunday morning for me. Monday night for you, Japan. I don't know. Anyway, the bottom line is I felt bad because I did send you that message, and I'm okay talking about it now. I have to look because I don't want to misquote myself in the middle of the night. God dang it! Now I can't find it. I'm trying to scroll through the thing. I said something about what did I tell you? It was like
riveting.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't riveting. But now I've done it, and I'll edit this out.
I'm talking about this conversation.
Oh
no, leave it in. I wrote. Need to know.
They need to know. Okay, I will then. I wrote, I can't decide if this episode means everything or nothing. Ha ha ha, you'll see.
Oh, yeah, right. And
because usually I didn't want to spoil it because I know you hadn't watched it until you got on the airplane.
Yeah, so I watched it and it was a perfect description. Obviously, you'd already planted that a little bit in my mind, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
I was thinking that I had that same exact feeling afterwards. Like, I don't know if this episode, because it seemed to not accomplish a lot, but at the same time accomplish a shitload.
Yeah, well, so the episode title is The Law of Non-Confrontation, and feel free to go to Wikipedia like everybody else. Or not, is that what it is? Yeah, sorry, I had a typo in my here. Non-contradiction.
So it's perfect,
So here's the deal. I'm gonna sort of spoil the show by saying a bunch of things right off the bat, and then we'll cover them. How about that?
Okay.
So speaking of, because I literally meant it. I'm like, this show means everything and it means nothing at the same time. So the law of non-contradiction is something can't be true and false at the same time. You know what I mean? So I can be like, a dog is a dog, but a dog can't be a cat, right? Is that close enough to, like, 2 + 2 = 4, but it also can't be 2 + 2 does not equal 4.
Right.
That's the basic premise. It's a little deeper than that, and it's shown up all over history in philosophy and all sorts of things. But the point is, as I said, the show means something and it means nothing, because you could throw away a huge portion of this show. because here's what I mean. So she's sheriff, but she's not sheriff.
Yep.
He's Ennis, but he's not Ennis. The robot's useful, but he's not useful. And then on top of it all, so you look at this whole backstory, right? This is what I mean about the show. It's like you get this whole backstory, and then at the very end, you're like, oh, Maurice's prints are at the crime scene. So it's like, so getting this whole backstory of Ennis, it meant something, but it has nothing to do with this whole thing for me. You know what I mean? It's only there to like slightly put away some of the wonder about, well, I wonder what happened to that. And maybe it has something to do with this. Unless Noah Hawley's going to super fuck with me, right?
Right.
And somehow show that it does. But all it did was give us some backstory, fill in some Barton Fink shit, a whole bunch of Big Lebowski stuff, and it was still entertaining. And there are things that will just probably go, huh? Because Noah Hawley doesn't tie up every loose end. I think we've come to learn that over 2 seasons.
Yep.
So anyway, I also think this is the real quick, and then you can fire a bunch of stuff back here. I also, I really think that this whole episode, what it could mean, it's the, remember when in Fargo when she goes and sees the guy who lies? You always remember the guy's name. Goes and sees the guy, Marge Gunderson goes and sees the guy, and he's like, my wife is dead, and then finds out he's not dead, and that he doesn't even have, hold on. Clicking. I am Mike Yanagata.
Oh, yeah.
I realize that in this, and it's not, I don't necessarily think it's just one person. It's not necessarily Officer Oscar Hunt's thing. It's just that everything's a lie. And then I think it's setting a new tone for her, for Gloria. Sheriff, maybe not Sheriff, Gloria Burgle. And she's kind of got this fuck you attitude. So there you have it. She's sheriff, she's not sheriff. Ennis is Ennis, not Ennis. The robot's useful. The robot's not for useful. And it all ties into this crazy Minsky box, the useless machine, and Gloria fulfills her own Yanagata thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds perfect. I mean, all of those scenarios tie in with the title of the show quite well. It's not anything more than that, like in regard to the story. I really like it. I think you said it was still entertaining, and of course it was entertaining despite the lack of like major events, you know. But the animation, I think, really helped kind of tie pieces together, because you just have this sort of long, drawn out like storyline for this episode, Gloria's trip to LA to get to the bottom of this Thaddeus Mobley. But then you have these like little interstitial quips of this animation with this Minsky robot thing, and it was kind of perfect. In my mind, the robot was what am I trying to say? The robot was sort of symbolic of all of the female law enforcement characters throughout the movie and the show. I kind of felt that way because they're kind of trudging along through seeing these worlds like get built up and get torn down.
I can go with that. I think that overall, actually,
yeah.
If you tie it back to, old school Howard, right? What was his name in the show? Howard Zimmerman, where he's talking about we're all just bouncing around and we don't know anything until we collide. And I think about the uselessness of it all. And then I think about last season, the uselessness of pushing the boulder up the hill over and over. And we don't know why we do it. It seems to, these collisions kind of end in pain a lot. But yeah, I think there's something going on there.
I just thought I don't know if that was the purpose, but that's what it made me think of. It made me think of Marge and Molly and Gloria, and all they want to do is help. All they want to do is keep pushing forward, and they're seeing these worlds get built up and crash and burn and get built up and crash and burn and crash and burn, and like all this like nastiness that's going on in these interesting places in this interesting universe. And it made me think of them and their drive. Also, some of that Sisyphus type thing, especially with that box that was in room 203, that made me think of the myth of Sisyphus. Just constantly like clicking that switch just to get it unclicked again, pushing the boulder.
a little me also thought it was like, why do you keep? It's like the way we constantly check social media too. It's just kind of empty. I do think I'll be curious to see what other people say, because I mean, no joke. I don't look at maybe I should some more often, but I don't look at the subreddit either, where you get a lot of groupthink. But I kind of want to know why the shoes. I mean, outside of building a moment of suspense, that's actually one of those moments. The shoes in the box make me go, that just might be Noah Hawley doing one of those things to me where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'll ever explain that. I mean, if you found something in your hotel room, would you just leave the shoes, take the box? I mean, obviously the box is far more intriguing than a pair of shoes, but...
Mm-hmm. As somebody who's investigating...
wouldn't you like say, hey, this got left in my room, or is somebody else in this room?
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to say this, going in the... I don't think we get introduced to all this stuff, and I don't know if we need to rehash this. I think Jerome and I talked about it, but would like to just point out on the music front that when we see this whole Howard Zimmerman, and before we go from this thing to we getting this movie with Vivian Lord being made, the song that plays is Liar by Three Dog Night, and I think that actually, the title of that is very... I think that's purposefully there. We'll find out later, because we're in the process of setting up. We're setting up another chat with Maggie Phillips, and we sure hope that works out again. But I mean, that's one of those things. Like, that's what we find out, is that that's what Howard and Vivian are doing. They run scams on people, and it's also that we're not. It's another case of they're not who they appear to be. Is anyone who they're supposed to be? That's the... So, and she gets him addicted to, cocaine, or at least real jacked up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it was fun to go back to 1975 and even experience some of those split screen visuals that we got from season 2. I like that stuff. Obviously, yeah. I always mention it.
Did you feel... Oh, keep going. Oh, did you feel, I was like, I'm going to do my Big Lebowski to you, because I can already see your face mustering a full fuck you face. Did you feel that Ray Wise, I don't know, you know who Ray Wise is? He's the guy that was on the airplane. I felt like he was kind of the dude in Lebowski.
Oh, yeah, he does kind of have that feeling, doesn't he?
He kind of shows up, talks to the main character a little bit.
Yep.
But not necessarily anybody else. And now I need to rewatch this, outside of the...
Yeah, he's sitting at the bar later on, just kind of turns over. Yeah, he does have that feeling. He
just shows up. I mean, I know I've seen a lot of people mention, and we've got some great notes for some people this week. Thank you so much for sending in all your comments. There was a lot of comments about Barton Fink, the long bell ring, all sorts of great stuff. So I'm sorry I don't have all my stuff pulled open, but I really do appreciate everybody sending in this week. I know Ruben and Mark and quite a few other people. I'm sorry I don't have them all. And Jason Wallace wrote in. Again, I haven't had a chance to read his email, unfortunately, because I think maybe he sent it the other day. But anyway, I feel like I should peek at it real quick while you're talking, but because I like seeing what Mark keeps sending us, or what Jason is sending us about about the actual the town.
Oh, yeah.
So... And I was right. I think the problem is that I finished with Jerome last week too, and there were some things that we talked about that I don't remember if Jerome talked, and because after we finished recording, he and I kind of kept chatting. It was the bar from the restaurant is from Pulp Fiction, as well as there are scenes where the nihilists eat. That's the same restaurant. It's a very famous restaurant in LA that's had all sorts of scenes shot in it.
I was thinking I should be trying to find my way over to one of those places while we do this. But I'm in LA, so that's going to have to do. That's going to have to be good enough.
Yeah, I mean, can you get over there? Oh, and the other thing, I know we had talked about the poster, so I'm skipping around, sorry. The Pleonexia films. Pleonexia is a Greek word which roughly corresponds to greed.
Oh, okay.
A person's Rittenbaugh describes it as ruthless, self-seeking, and arrogant assumption that others and things exist for one's own benefit. So, Pleonexia Films, which was the film company in the poster behind Howard Zimmerman's robot thing. But so here's the question too. God, I'm all over the map. Sorry, dude. Howard Zimmerman talking like a robot. He didn't say I can help, but
yeah. I was I'm gonna kind of be jumping all over the place too a little bit.
Yeah,
but
let's do it.
Vivian Lord, right?
Wonderful casting, by the way.
Yes, when we caught up to the present day or 2010 version of Vivian Lord, I was like, oh my god, they did an awesome job of finding somebody who looked just like the 70s version. And then as I'm doing like some research, I find out that that's her mother, or that it's mother and daughter.
Yeah. It's Clint Eastwood's daughter.
That is amazing. Well. I did not know that.
I love good casting like that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It looked nice though. It looked good. They both have those very similar shaped eyes, and what it made a big deal. Very nice.
So we learned the story of Thaddeus Mobley. Do you even think Thaddeus Mobley was Ennis's real name?
Mm-hmm. I'm still stuck like if that's still a nom de plume, you know?
Right. Not that it matters, but something that I was thinking about. So we learn where Ennis Stussy comes from, the toilet. Ennis was Dennis.
Yes. Comes from the shitter.
and escaped Los Angeles by moving to Eden Valley.
Eden Valley.
Yeah. Even I screw him up.
Yeah. I did have this moment, you know, and I did see somewhere when I did see a couple things online, people saying they were doing the math. Is that guy the right age to actually be him? You know, what if there's a double hidden? What if it is? What if that's just a scene to mislead, and he's looking at this, and somewhere later there is a guy who makes toilets that's sold all over the nation. His name is Ennis Stussy, and he somehow, I don't know, it's too much. It's a stretch. I'm waiting to be screwed with. You know, when does the UFO show up and make me go, what the hell?
And that hotel is so freaking close to the motel in season 2.
It feels like it,
I know they all kind of look that way, but I mean, holy cow. The entire shape of everything. I know it's not because it's an entirely different town, but...
Well, let's shout out to Jason right now in Calgary. And Jason, if you know, were those the same motel or not? I mean, it couldn't be, because there's that whole exterior shot, you know, with that sign. I
know. I wanted to pull up the shots from season 2, but I don't have them downloaded on my laptop right now.
I do know that he had told me that in scanning, you know, that they did film as much as they can in Calgary, up in Canada when they did it. Obviously, the stuff like I was talking about, like Pan's Restaurant. I mean, that's you can't fake that. But he had told me that the Mexican restaurant, you know, and all that stuff it's called Blanco Catina. You can go to blancocatina.ca if you want to check it out. And then there's another place he had told me that where Thaddeus was buying cocaine. That's also in town. It's a vintage restaurant, he says, with red leather seats. It's a very iconic restaurant in town called Caesar's Steakhouse. So he's looking into stuff. I feel like Jason, we got to talk. I feel like we got to send you something for all this great information you give us.
Yeah,
I love
that
the inside
awesome.
stuff. It's a ton of fun. We appreciate all you guys. But yeah. And I know I was waiting for you though, talking about all the movie references. You know, sometimes we go into all these things. The Raise the Dingus. Did you catch that? Isn't that a line from one of your favorite? You're a big Hudsucker Proxy fan.
I am a big Hudsucker Proxy fan, but I did not catch that, and I don't recall it. I haven't seen Hudsucker Proxy in years, though.
It's the scene though where they're standing in front of that Hollywood premiere motel, and he doesn't have it up, and he's like, "Hold up the dingus," and that's when he like,
oh
he's
yeah,
like, hey, here's my spaceship. So I don't know. I just like what can we talk about here in our horrible, weird talking and whatever?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So when Thaddeus and Vivian are sitting at the nightclub and they're obviously getting into their coke-infused lifestyle, and they're sitting at a table, and like a coke dealer, I assume he's just a coke dealer, comes up to the table and sits with them. Vivian leaves, and the coke dealer, so, he's sort of like a Russian looking guy, is just staring at Thaddeus. Like, is there more to that guy than is there more to that guy, or is he just like, well, why is he sit there and Vivian leaves?
I'm really glad you said that, because he's listed as drug dealer, and his name is, and I hate, it's like, hey, look at us stereotype people. His name is, in real life, is Nikolai Nikolaev. So
he's got those high cheekbones.
He's definitely not Hispanic. I don't know. Just the fact that he's only labeled as drug dealer, there'd have to be some sort of major revelatory thing that would happen to bring that back. But, yeah.
It was just so odd that he just sat there still at the table and she leaves.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So do you have any commentary on the fact that the cartoon was, I did check a couple things out about that, because I had the same immediate thought I know everybody who's seen anything has, which was, hey, it's a Don Hertzfeldt thing. And just fun fact, I've gone bowling with Don Hertzfeldt before.
What?
Yeah, I went bowling with Don Hertzfeldt at All-Star Bowl in Moorhead, which is just across the river, and then afterwards was back in his hotel room with Rich Sommer, who plays Harry on Mad Men, and we had Pizza Patrol pizza. So
Pizza Patrol being,
Don Hertzfeldt.
Wait. Pizza Patrol being the infamous pizza shop. Well, it's a chain. There's a few of them in Fargo and Moorhead.
Yes. Yes.
That you really only order when you're extremely drunk.
Or you went to college and it turned into a staple food for you, like me. I ordered plenty of those pizzas sober. Sometimes. I ordered Pizza Patrol this week. This week, dude. I had it this week, and I had only had two. Hey, I had 2 Fargo Brewing beers inside me.
Okay.
We have derailed. We've derailed. Anyway.
No, this is good. This is good.
God. This has nothing to do with. This has everything to do with Fargo, Moorhead, the area.
Was it 2:00 in the morning? Was it 3:00 in the morning?
Okay, shithead. It was like, yeah, I don't know. It was like maybe midnight-ish.
That's why. They're open. Well, you can remember their number.
You know it tastes better after 10 p.m. You know that's true.
If you're listening to this and it is before 4 a.m. Central Time, you can call
218-701. No, it's not 218. The weird part is they're in Moorhead, but it's a Fargo number. I will bet $1,000 on that.
No.
It is 701. It is 701-241-9000.
No, it's not.
Google that shit, buddy.
You Google it.
No, wait, I got to take that phone number out. I don't want people calling them to fuck around. Anyway.
No, I want people to order you a pizza.
No, I don't need any more. I'm already too fat. I'm too fat.
Do you order regular style or home style?
I need to. Well, you always order pan.
I order home style every time. Way better.
I love home style. You are one of the only people I know who likes home style like I do. But hey, if I listen to the movie, I need to eat your vegetables, okay? Let's get back in. I don't know. So,
well, we were talking about the Don Hertzfeldt animations.
I just saw some hubbub about people thought that they had kind of like ripped off Don, because Don Hertzfeldt's not a very commercial guy. That's not his deal. Everybody always talks about, is it called World of Tomorrow, or what was it called? I don't remember. My favorite, like quick Don Hertzfeldt, you need to go look up Billy's Balloon. That's my favorite Don Hertzfeldt. So go look those up. But it was very Don Hertzfeldt, and from what I know, it was actually done by the Archer team from FX. They tapped their own internal team to do that. But
okay.
Sorry, I looked that up here. It is World of Tomorrow is the really like highly acclaimed piece by Don Hertzfeldt. I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying, if you want to like ease your way into Don Hertzfeldt, I'd say start with Billy's Balloon. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, what is the cartoon was just another part of the narrative, but I think the cartoon in and of itself, for me, at least for me, I'm not saying it's definitive. The only way any of this shit's definitive is if Noah calls into the show finally. Please, Noah, call in. and we don't have a call-in
241
number either. So
9,000.
shut up. Yeah, it feels as random. It is. It feels like I think you kind of hit on it. It's just like we keep repeating ourselves. Greed, confusion, the chaos of the things, and we don't learn from it. We keep continuing these stories, and people keep repeating themselves, and then. Did you notice though that like he had to, like people were like screwing him up when he needed to reboot? When those guys pulled off his arm.
Mm-hmm.
All I kept thinking was the one-arm robot, and I wanted to turn it into a Fugitive episode, but I know it's not that. But
yeah, and then the narrator specifically said, he was only vulnerable when he had to recharge, and that's when you see him like getting his arm ripped off. Did you?
I just kept thinking about us, like everybody recharges when they, when they're at rest, or I just kept thinking it's like it's the concept of things happen when you least expect it.
Sure.
Like even think about Ennis Stussy / Thaddeus. He's kind of dozed off and is just shut down in front of the TV, and that's when this awful thing happens to him. I'm not saying people really shut off, but I mean it's the idea that it's when you're not expecting things to happen. That's when the awful happens. You're lighting a cigarette and you're walking out of a building, and an air conditioner unit crushes your head, and I don't know. It's just, yeah.
At the beginning of the animation narrative, did you the Martian guy, the man in the suit that ends up dying? That was a Stussy brother, right? Or that was Ewan McGregor's voice.
Yes, they were voiced by some of the people from the show, which was another interesting choice in my opinion.
Definitely.
Because I want to know about the whatchamacallit. I feel like it's supposed to mean something, but it only means something to me a little bit because I like whatchamacallits. Like it was a candy of choice for me growing up when I got my allowance.
I don't think I've ever had a whatchamacallit.
That's okay. Hey, I have a question for you since we're in skip around mode. What do you make of this whole situation Gloria's in? Like, what has got her so far off the rails that she doesn't know if she's chief, and she's doing this, and she full-blown, as far as I recall, ignores 2 messages from Chief Damick, right? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. Chief Damick to get her ass back to town.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Because that seems like an irresponsible thing to do, and she doesn't seem like she's an irresponsible person. Is it like a backlash because they're getting swallowed by the county? Does she feel like she's getting demoted, and that's why she's doing this? I don't know. It just still doesn't seem within her character. But then again, maybe I'm folding her predecessors into this, like Marge and Molly and stuff like that, and I'm thinking she's in line with them. Maybe she's not really. I mean, she is the female law enforcement role that we kind of always have, like that common bane, but maybe she's not similar to those past characters.
I think though but this is that. I think this is going to be that point. I think she's going to be different from now on. I think going forward, this is going to change her.
I think it's weird that she's going back to 1975 to investigate a murder in 2010.
Oh, yeah. You're saying, that's what I mean. I can't decide what her level of interest is. Is she having her own personal, like, really quiet crisis that she wants to know who this man was that married her mother for a short time before she passed?
Yeah.
Or is she truly thinking this is a lead about his death? And I feel like the entire purpose of it is for her to understand. That's why I said it's the Mike Yamagata or whatever his name is. If I'm getting that wrong, I apologize. Yanagata, sorry, I had to go pull my note back up again. I think this episode exists wholly to change her as a person. Her trust has completely shifted.
Sure.
She finds out he's not who he was. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to skip ahead to this. Only this. Sorry, I have to find it because I literally put it in bold. Vivian says, and I wrote this up the first time I saw it. I wrote, he was right. I am a bad person. He wasn't so good either. And between the officer kind of like being this like shitty person to her and not really being a good cop and mostly just trying to hook up with her and gross her out and make it feel false, and that he wasn't who he said he was, and Gloria wasn't who she said she was, and Howard wasn't who he said he was, and all of these people, and he wasn't, all the way to him, he wasn't so good either. I think that's the core lesson out of this episode. You know, granted, now that's 40 plus minutes to get to something that they could have got to if she, you know, maybe she, and here's the even crazier part. Could she have figured out a certain amount of this stuff through computer records? Because if somebody legally changes their name, but she can't touch a computer, she makes her kid get off the bus. Which, by the way, those kids on that bus hate that kid now. Like, oh, your mommy's calling. I think that's the thing. It all is, you know. And then and it's a crumbling of the existence of a facade. That's why all the Santas are in town. I think too. Just laying by pools, drinking and smoking. It's everything is like everybody's mask is being washed away for her.
Yeah, the world is something that she seems foreign to now. She doesn't know what Facebook is or maybe she does, but she doesn't have it, and that's weird to everybody else. She's living in this analog world and getting tossed into this new world where there's Facebook and there's Santa Clauses fucking smoking and drinking and stealing. They're not leaving gifts, they're taking gifts.
Oh, wow, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't.
Oh, and I forget, Gloria or Vivian actually says to him at one point, you know, you're a bad person. Like, like the idea that for her to find out is that no matter who it is, and I mean, she already thought he was rough, but even looking back at Ennis, if we're going, you know, that Ennis /Tad is that everybody, given a certain amount of circumstances, I think is capable of horrible things, or there are certain things can bring out that horribleness in you. I mean, obviously, the scene we see is that Ennis is. At first I was like, oh, he's sick to his stomach about himself, or I was like, or he's just in withdrawal because he didn't get any coke.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was regret, and then I thought, well, what if it's just withdrawal?
Yeah. Are you talking about when he then gets up? Or no, you're talking about when he's out of coke. Not when he gets. When he's
out of coke, he goes to them, and he finally realized he's been had by these two, and they've been taking all his checks and his money and all this junk, and he does all this horrible stuff, and bango, it's like, oh, well, you're a horrible person too. And at first I thought he was throwing up because he couldn't believe he had beat that guy that he'd beat Howie so bad. But but I thought, well, the kind of random moment could be that he's not really that sick about that, is that maybe he's in some sort of withdrawal from cocaine. I wouldn't know. I've never had to have withdrawal from cocaine. I have a steady supply.
You have pizza.
Yep. I've got Pizza Patrol pizza, so I'm good to go.
I did like the Barton Fink-ish call out on the typewriter.
There was a lot of those little notes in here, right? Because I know I got a note either via I got a ton of notes this week. So it wasn't me that recognized the long bell ring was from Barton Fink as well, as I was told. So. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this episode means nothing and it means everything. It's the law of non-contradiction.
The law of Sorry, somebody's talking to me.
This is what happens when you hang out in a hotel bar in between flights.
Yes. Okay, and we're back.
So where did I lose you? You've been gone for 10 minutes and I've just been talking to myself here. I just realized something, and I'm going back to the... I figured it out! Somebody had said, where the hell was he from? You know, I kept thinking, so where was Thaddeus Mobley from, right? Before. I finally went back and was like, why don't I just pause on the scene where he's writing a check?
Oh, yeah. It was like Wisconsin or something?
He's from Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Do you know about Baraboo?
No, I don't know anything about Baraboo.
Fun fact time. Well, I'm going to give you some rando fact time.
Because I wrote that down too, but I don't know anything about it.
It's the largest city in Sauk County, but it's also home to the Circus World Museum and it was the former headquarters of the Ringling Brothers Circus. Fun other fact, last year, if you remember, there was some music that we talked about with Maggie Phillips that was, what was the song? Crap, was it Oh Death? That was covered by... Shaky Graves covered it, but he had a wonderful gal named Monica Martin sing on it. And Monica Martin, fun fact, living in Baraboo, Wisconsin. She's in a band called Fox. Not anymore. They're on a break.
Wow, you just tied all that together just now?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, she Shaky Graves. Yeah, whole thing. Good times.
That's cool.
There you go, guys. Baraboo, Wisconsin. Shout out to Shaky Graves, who's coming to Fargo pretty soon. Got to go to that show. And shout out to Monica Martin, who I think is a fantastic singer. Love her. Baraboo, Wisconsin. Thaddeus Mobley from Baraboo, Wisconsin. Lives in an apartment, too. Unit 204. He lives at 2415 20th Avenue in Baraboo, Wisconsin. 30957.
How far is that from Fargo?
Baraboo? Well, no, they're not in Fargo. Remember, they're in Eden Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you need to carry on. I just somehow derailed us on some rando topic, but I guess that's what we do here.
That's what we're doing today. I'm going to be all over the place. It's 5:40 in the morning.
Well, it's because for you it really is, isn't it? You're just all jacked up. I'm going to do Eden Valley. Keep going.
Think the Santa Claus / elf thief had anything specifically was Gloria a specific target for this thief? Was that somebody fucking with her, or was that just a random thief?
I think it was so that they could play a game of Lebowski.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hold out much, I wouldn't hold out for the Creedence tape kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, you get to talk mostly flannel line.
Yep. That was good.
It's how she meets a cop and finds out that she's of a different breed.
Right.
By the way, Baraboo, Wisconsin is under 5 hours from Eden Valley. Then again, around here, actually, I don't think that's that hard to do around the Midwest. Move 5 hours away and assume a new identity. I really don't think that's hard here. Do you?
5 hours is pretty far.
Especially from a place in Wisconsin to living just outside of outside of a major metro.
Yeah, in 5 hours, you're kind of officially in like another school district, because a lot of these schools, they bus kids all to like one central spot. But you're not going to be busing, obviously, kids from 5 hours away, or even from 2.5 hours away, probably. So,
yeah, and I mean, it's like to put it in perspective for you, dude. I mean, Baraboo is like almost Madison.
Okay.
So for us, yeah. Anyway, fun times. Baraboo, Wisconsin. Thaddeus Mobley. Scotty at heart. Let me look at my notes here and see what else we got. So, because I feel like some of my notes here that I got, he only gives to Shabbat. We know about that. That's a Jewish religion thing he gives to. Yeah, I already kind of talked about how they collide and they're random. I did think it was funny that I can help, and then the robot gets picked up by a UFO very interruptingly, like a season of Fargo.
Do you remember the story from season 1 of the rich guy who says I can help?
No. What was that?
Remember when Colin Hanks' character, he's sitting in an apartment with a guy, and the guy is telling a story of this rich man who wanted to help, so he donated all of his money to like poor people and stuff. And that wasn't enough because he still saw people suffering, so he decided to donate a kidney. He kept saying, I can help, so he donated a kidney. And then he donated the kidney, everything was fine. But he realized, why just donate one kidney when he can donate everything? And the doctor was like, well, what are you trying to say? That would be suicide. and then he commits suicide so that he can donate all of his organs.
Interesting. I do want to talk. I don't have any major thoughts to give you on that.
I don't really either.
I'm glad you remembered that, though. I think that's awesome.
Tie-in, but nothing like beyond that.
There was a lot of great back and forth towards the end, cutting from 75 to present day for the story, with Thaddeus and Gloria. But I don't know. I was sad. I was really sad when the robot turned himself off. I thought, look at all this stuff you've done. And here you are. He shuts himself off. And of course, we cut right to Ennis's final funeral happening. Finally. And she's like, who the hell is he? And then they get Arby's. And she's got the box. What do you make of that? Like, what do you think she brought or is that box just there to remind us that, because I feel like, so here's the deal. I feel like this is, they got Maurice now. They got Maurice down, and it's only a matter of time before they start trying to link things together. Because, we're going to get like 12 episodes, right? Or is it 10 usually?
I think it's 10 usually.
What? Yeah. So I mean, we're a third of the way in. We got to work because over the next 3, we're gonna develop plots that get people gonna have to talk to Ray. Ray is gonna have to talk to somebody, and somewhere in there, they're going to be playing this game with VM Varga and the Parking Lot King, and all of this is going to start moving and motioning together. And I think this was kind of our this law of non-contradiction. We need this show. We don't need this show. Really, is really just a quick respite before I think this is going to kick into a much faster high gear. We'll probably be back to show titles that are based off Bridge, and you and I won't know what the fuck we're talking about.
For the season finale, we'll have to do it while we're playing a game of Bridge.
Yeah, we might.
We'll be experts
because I feel bad. I forgot I'd promised, because I suck. I was going to do a hot dish, but
yeah,
I didn't. Between all this, like, you in Japan thing, and I had to actually work part of yesterday and today, and some things came up, and so I apologize. It's still going to happen.
I'll do one too, for sure.
Because you'll be home. Everything is gonna get back to normal, because that's the way we're gonna do it. But so I don't know. I feel like we're in the process of doing a little bit of a shorter show today. But how don't you do a shorter show on a show that I guess I opened the show by saying this show it matters, but it doesn't.
You mentioned the whatchamacallit earlier, and I wanted to dive a little bit deeper in it, but we've kind of been jumping all around. Like, what is the purpose of the whatchamacallit?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Is it just what is in the briefcase in The Big Lebowski? Besides, he says business papers and something, but it's like that and something else. I should know this, seeing as I love that show. But I mean, here's the rando thing I thought about that, right? I thought the whatchamacallit is very similar to, it's a box that doesn't matter. All she gets back is an empty wrapper and a note. It's a useless machine as well. It's useless. Like, did she bring the whatchamacallit?
Or was that the police officers, or was that the thieves?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no money in the briefcase after they get it, and he lost his Creedence tape. But here you get, a whatchamacallit and a note.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
I talked to Jerome about it, and I just want to bring this up too. What did you make of the whole, we really talk like that kind of thing? I felt like they nailed it.
I loved it. Yeah. I loved that he was kind of mocking her, even a couple times before that line was even brought up, where she called him out, like, do I really sound like that? Because every time, even in the parking lot, he kind of mimicked her accent. And I was like, what is he doing? Is he supposed to be a cop from Fargo, but in LA? But I realized he was just making fun of her. And then later she called him out, and he's like, well, yeah, you do sound like that, because she does sound like that. And people do sound like that in Fargo.
Some of them do. So I was okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
I thought it was great. And it's just her overall inability to understand cultural lexicon, like the drop the kids off the pool. Oh, you have kids? No, I'm going to take a shit. It's all of those. Doesn't know Facebook, doesn't know jokes. man, I'm almost starting to think that maybe she is the robot.
Yeah.
You know, because wouldn't a robot be a truly autonomous? Okay, so Minsky, we talked about this. Marvin Minsky is a leading person in AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would artificial intelligence be aware of itself?
Well, that'd be the singularity.
Yeah. What would that do? What would that do to her use of technology and getting doors to open? I mean, I know that's technically just motion, but I don't know. There's something I'm starting to wonder more about her. You know, I don't think her character has fully, outside of me wondering about her, I haven't, and I think Carrie Coon is fantastic in The Leftovers. And if you haven't watched that show, I still say you should check that out. But I'm not at the same point in episode 3 with Carrie Coon's character, and that could be just writing and my own feeling right now, than I was with previous seasons with the female leads. Obviously, Nikki Swango has been a little more powerful in certain parts of the show for me.
Yeah, but she's more obviously like missing a piece. You know what I mean? She's like, they're making it pretty clear that something's not all right there, and we don't exactly have that with Gloria outside of her just not understanding, like you said, like the cultural lexicon of other areas.
Right. But I'm still kind of waiting. I'm starting to look back now and I'm looking at the ensemble of last year with Kirsten Dunn, Patrick Wilson, Jesse Plemons, Gene Smart, Ted Danson, Kristen Milotti, all these guys. Bokeem Woodbine. I mean, think about it, man. Mike Milligan. I feel like, honestly, this has to really ramp up right now. It's time. Like, so here's my dig on the show. If it doesn't ramp up by episode 4, I'm gonna say something, because I don't know if I care about any of these people yet, or if I mean, I know that's not the point of a Coen Brothers universe to a certain degree. Is it really? You know?
No.
It's based in a certain amount of, for lack of a better word, I can't think of right now. There's a certain ridiculousness to it.
There's no way it won't ramp up, because just bringing back the Stussy brothers and Swango in the next episode. Mm-hmm. It's already going to start to be taking that turn. So unless they do another sort of like one character like thing, it wouldn't, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I really have a hard time believing that's going to happen.
Do you think we're going to see more of Thaddeus after this point? We could easily probably find out through IMDb, but I don't know if we want to.
I don't. Well. In the same way that you and I don't watch I was telling Jerome, I can't remember if I told him, well, we recorded or after we stopped, that I told him that you and I don't watch the next week on Fargo stuff. No. I've stopped for the same reason you did. And you're like, I think during the first season we watched some of them, and then I stopped because, I don't want what I think is coming to change how I feel about what I just saw. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, and I think we both agree about that. So I don't look ahead to whatever, which is probably also a reason we weren't aware that Jim Gaffigan wasn't going to be on the show. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't personally think we're going to see anything major. We might maybe some flashbacks, but judging by the past 2 seasons, Noah either really flashbacks or he doesn't. There's no kinda, is there? Am I misremembering?
That sounds accurate.
I think there's too many characters that need further development for us to keep staring backwards at Thaddeus. Right. I feel like this could be the end of Thaddeus. I think so too. Not necessarily the thematic things that Thaddeus has introduced us to, but we need to know more about VM Varga. We have yet to really learn anything about henchman Mimo. We need to learn more about what's the guy's name? East German Yuri. We need to learn about Yuri. We need to learn about Yuri Gurka. There's Shea Wiggum. You know, Mo Damick is far too fine of an actor for this to not be more fleshed out. It's just too much. It would be like us seeing a quick episode, with oh look, it's Ted Danson for 1 episode or 2, and then he's gone. That's not how this is going to roll. No, I mean those are the things you have to kind of know when you just know what they do. I mean, sure. Maurice is out, but that's just part of the deal.
Yeah, Mo Damick, I think, will definitely play a big role in the final shootout.
Yeah,
which there will.
I think
be.
next week's gonna be real hot on the Emmett and Cy VM Varga front, and I think that Gloria is gonna be hot on the Ray trail. What we're gonna see.
I like it.
I don't know who dead next though. Maybe nobody.
Maybe nobody. Nobody dead this time. Close though.
So do you have anything else?
I think that's it for me this week. I'm gonna go get some Arby's.
Oh, cool. You want to get some milkshake, curly fries, and ponder all future moves? I said that last week too, so sorry, folks.
Oh.
But yeah, I think you should. You should do that. Get back to LAX and get on your flight.
Yep. That sounds
so.
good.
Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hopefully, when we're too scattered on this show, but actually, that's the reality of us.
Yep.
We haven't typed up a show flow for over a full season. Maybe that's what makes the show not so great. I think it's fun.
I think it's the best show.
So far, we're a solid case of beer behind on our normal schedule. So, hey, speaking of beer, thanks again to Fargo Brewing. Go to fargobrewing.com to learn more about them. And we can't thank them enough for their sponsorship of the show. Thanks to what lounge are you in? What hotel? If you're in LA, head over to hit up the Westin. They seem to not mind too much if we're recording an entire episode from the hotel bar. Get back on the airplane. Hopefully, when you land, it won't be balmy weather like Gloria found. So please reach out to us. We are on Twitter. You can at Sharpie at CHARPI. You can hit me up at Lempy LEM as in Mary P as in Paul E, or you can just send it to the podcast at Fargo Talks Fargo on the Twitter. We're also at Facebook.com/Fargo Talks Fargo, or email us at podcast@Fargo Talks Fargo. We're always happy to hear from you. Unless you tell us we suck, then you can go get you whatchamacallit.
Yeah, there's an E on the end of my name too, by the way.
Did I not say the E? CHARPIE. I said that, I thought. Well, play the tape back. It'll be there. I'm not editing.
Okay.
So, well, thanks so much, Sharpie.
Yeah, man.
And next, we'll be back. We'll be back in a couple days. Enjoy the rest of your week until we talk to you on Wednesday night. Until then, stay frosty. What are we supposed to, we don't have a sign off.
There's no sign offs around here.
Isn't our sign off just okay then?
Okay then.
All right.
I'll see you Wednesday.
Well, I suppose we'll see you next time, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Bye now.